Welcome, Promise House supporters. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Cobi Lambert, the Chief Philanthropy Officer here at Promise House, and I am joined by Kenia Rios, who is a counselor on our mental health team. Thank you for joining me, Kenia.
Everyone.
Well, today we're going to talk to you a little bit about what Kenia does and how she helps support the young people in our program. So let's get right to it. Kenia, can you tell me a little bit about how the therapy and support services at Promise House that you and the members of your team provide has really been impacted or changed since COVID-19 has been upon us?
Yes, so since COVID-19, myself and the other therapists have been encouraging the youth, to stay safe. We provide a little bit of more structure environment throughout the day to encourage the kids to stay in place, to stay safe, practice social distancing. The youth here seem to get very frustrated. They don't understand the impact of COVID-19. Which makes it a little bit more difficult for them to, follow the guidelines at the moment. But I think with the structure that we have implemented and we're trying to practice on a daily basis, it helps them stay more focused.
Yeah, I can only imagine how hard that is, especially with teens who are very social and like to interact. And with school not being in, there is a lot of time for you guys to really be able to keep their minds occupied and focused on positive things. And there are very few activities that you can take them out to experience. So I imagine the structure and the schedule that you guys are providing is very helpful to them.
Yes, so prior to COVID-19, the youth were able to go on a lot of outings. They were able to interact, go outside of Promise House. I think that's another reason why a lot of the youth are frustrated, because so many things have changed and they have to stay inside, and they're very limited to the things that they can do when they go outside on outings.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how you and the team have helped the youth stay encouraged during this time.
We have been encouraging the team, the kids, by educating them on COVID-19, the impact of COVID-19. They don't fully understand how impactful it is right now. So we try to educate them on why we wear our mask, and some of them think it's silly, some of them don't want to do it, some of them don't believe in COVID, but we just remind them it's a kind gesture. You might be saving someone's life by doing that. We also encourage them by trying out new coping skills when they do get frustrated, and those coping skills might include journaling, listening to music, writing out their thoughts. Several of them have good coping skills. It's just putting them into place.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that goes for everybody, right? Those are good things to reinforce for the young people who are in our shelter, but for, those of us like me who's here and here at home with my family and I'm working and we're not really leaving or going out much. It's really important to be able to rely on those good coping skills. And some of those that you mentioned are definitely some of the ones that I fall back on quite often. So
yes, I believe everyone should know what their coping skills are at some point, because they will help you.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what your typical day looks like.
My typical day here at Promise House, I usually come in. First thing I do is go check in with the youth. I tell them good morning. I check in on how the evening was, what they did after I left. They usually update me on, what happened or what didn't happen. And after that, I go prepare for group. I have my group at 10 a.m. every day. And we have a group at 10. And after that, the rest of the day is kind of consumed with individual counseling. I focus one-on-one. And a lot of the times it's also consumed with de-escalating some of the situations that happen here in TEP. The youth can get very frustrated. The youth, get into verbal arguments with one another. And that's usually when I come in and, talk them down, tell them to use those coping skills, deep breathing, and remove them from the situation. So that's usually what my days look like around here. At the end of the day, I just go back to my office, do what I need to do, admin work, and then go back in there and tell them, I'll be back tomorrow, have a good night, and then do it again the next day.
Good. Well, we are so grateful for you. You mentioned TEP, which is the Temporary Emergency Placement Program, which is a program that's a partnership with the Office of the Governor that Promise House has, and it is where we are serving hard-to-place young people who really have more severe emotional and behavioral needs. So we know you are one of the staff that has one of the toughest jobs in the building. So we are grateful for how you help those young people manage those emotions, because we know they have experienced really complex trauma. And so your work and the role that your role is very vital to the importance of making sure that these young people are able to stay safe. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So tell me a little bit about what is your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part of this job is setting goals with the youth and seeing them achieve those goals, change their behaviors while they're here. A lot of the times in TEP, their high risk behavior is running away, while, encouraging them, letting them know, the risk of it, and seeing them stay in place. I believe that's probably one of my favorite parts. And then another one of my favorite parts is seeing the change in them while they live here. Usually when they get here their first day, they're very reserved and very to themselves, and then seeing them develop throughout the days, getting more comfortable, with myself, with staff, with the other youth. It shows who they can be. And that's one of my favorite things, is seeing them develop their personality while here.
Amazing. Well, I know during COVID-19, some of the change that's happened is we used to have weekly group sessions. And during this conversation, you've mentioned that now those group sessions happen daily. And so I'm sure that also helps you to really kind of open up and be able to be their authentic selves while they are staying with us. So I'm sure, I can't imagine how fulfilling that is for you to be able to see a young person from the start when they first get to us, and to see how they continue to grow after interacting and participating in the program at Promise House.
Yes, it's really rewarding at the end. There's a lot of struggles here, but I think seeing the reward is it's a good feeling when you see the kids achieve what they're working towards, whether that be their short-term goals or their long-term goals.
Great. So tell me, is there anything that you think that our supporters or audience that's watching this video should know about our youth?
I believe our youth is extremely resilient. They've had a lot of hardships. They've had a lot of obstacles thrown their way, in 15, 16 years of life. And I believe everything they've gone through will make them a better person at the end of the day. And, if everyone had that bit of compassion and giving them a chance, they can see what this youth could really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Our youth are definitely some of the most resilient young people that I've had an opportunity to interact with. It really is amazing to understand some of the background and the trauma that our young people have experienced, and to see how they have been able to learn how to cope through some of their triggers, and grow to be really wonderful young people. So all the work that you and the rest of our residential programs team and our outreach team does is so critical in making sure we're able to really push these young people to be successful. So thank you so much for what you do. We're grateful.
Thank you.
All right. Well, also, I just want to say to everybody out there watching the video, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to wrap up, but we appreciate you taking out some time to learn a little bit more about the work that we do at Promise House, and to hear Kenia talk specifically about her role. Please follow us on social media. We've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and a YouTube channel. All of those are at Promise House. So you can follow us to continue to learn more about what it is that we do to support the young people that we serve, to hear a little a little bit more about our needs, and to hear us say thank you also to you guys who support us, and learn how much we appreciate you. All right. Well, okay, Kenia, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.